Good morning, Zelvis. This is Dan Putnam with Hillsborough County Communications. I see your video. Can I just get a mic check, please, sir?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, thank you.
Excellent. And we have you down for agenda item number 9. Is that correct? It's
I believe so.
L216848 is the number.
That is correct.
All right, perfect. Audio and video are working great. When the magistrate calls your name for your case, just remember to pop your video on so you can provide your testimony.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, sir. Good morning, Gary. This is Dan Putnam with Hillsborough County Communications. I see your video. If I can just get a mic check, please.
I'm here.
Excellent. And what item are you signed up for?
Code enforcement. Code enforcement?
Yes. Are you a code enforcement officer or?
No, we had cut some dead palm trees down and stuff like that. And
Okay.
Already
Let me
had.
take a look to see what item number you are.
It's item number 10.
It's item number 10? Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right. Sir, we have your video and your audio, and we have you checked in. So when the magistrate calls your name for your case, just remember to keep your video on because that is required to provide testimony. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. The meeting will begin in 3, 2, 1. Good morning. I now call the meeting of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Welcome to the Hillsborough County Code Enforcement Special Magistrate hearing. When addressing the magistrate, please state your name, address, and speak clearly into the microphone. If you are planning to speak during this hearing, you must sign the speakers list located at the front door so your case can be called. Any person who decides to appeal a decision of the Code Enforcement Special Magistrate will need a record of the proceedings. The record is comprised of the testimony and evidence upon which an appeal is based. It is your responsibility to ensure a verbatim record of the proceedings is made. By law, you have 30 days from the date of my order to appeal my decision to circuit court. Presentations by the county, respondents, and opposition must be kept to a maximum of 10 minutes each. The special magistrate may recess at 12:30 and reconvene at 1:30 to conclude its business if needed. The basis process for this hearing is as follows. Ms. Meyer will conduct the oath of witness. Your case will be announced. Staff will present the evidence on your case, and then you will be allowed to rebut that evidence and explain what has occurred. I will close the hearing and announce the decision. I may ask questions and allow other witness testimony if necessary. Depending on my order, the county staff may later have to conduct an inspection to see if you have complied. If the staff believes you have not complied, you'll receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. For false alarm or water resource cases, if you have not complied by paying the past due burglar false alarm fine or water resources penalty fine within the time ordered, you'll receive a notice in the mail. By law, you have 10 days to contest that notice, otherwise it will be considered correct and a lien may be filed against your property. If you have any questions, these rules are outlined by Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Chapter 14, Article 2, Section 14. And before we begin, please silence all electronic devices. First order of business, I approve the minutes from the previous meetings of January 11th, February 11th, and March 4th. We are ready for the oath. Should be on. No, or is it not just?
Thanks. Sorry about that. All county staff who will testify must take the oath of witness. Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you.
Absolutely. Call your first case, please.
First case on page 1 under water ordinance cases, number 1, case number WR 2102265. This case complied March 29, 2022. Number 2, case number WR 2102829. The owner is Nika Eziana, location 11139 Spring Point Circle. We have service and no one is present.
Good morning. I am Carmine Pisano with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. First case is WR 2102829. On Tuesday, 10/26/21 at 6:46 a.m., Officer Ted Baker arrived at 11139 Spring Point Circle to observe the sprinkler system watering the area on the front left side of the driveway. This is a non-watering day during non-watering hours. Notice of violation was mailed on 11/1/2021 and again on 12/8/2021. The fault letter was mailed on 1/20/2022. Notice of hearing was mailed on 2/11/2022. The history on this is on March 26, 2021, order violation WR 2100531 was initiated, resulting in a warning being issued. This is second violation and the fine is $100.
Ruling case WR 2102829. The base of the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the water resources penalty fine for illegal sprinkling imposed by section 111-7, Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Part B, Public Utilities. I grant the violator 30 days to pay the water penalty fine imposed, in order if payment is not made by that date, a fine of $20 per day be assessed. Next case, please.
Next case is number 3, case number WR 2102871. The owner is GDP Tampa LLC, location 813 West Barris Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
I am Carmine Pisano with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. 71. 1 second, please. This is the case WR 2102871. On Tuesday, 11/9/2021 at 6:35 a.m., Officer Ramon Hernandez arrived at 813 West Barris Avenue to observe the irrigation system on. This is a non-watering day, although during the permitted hours. Notice of violation was mailed on 12/1/2021. The fault letter was mailed on 1/3/2022. And notice of hearing was mailed out on 2/11/2022. Prior history has on September 3rd, 2021, a water violation WR 2102345 was initiated, resulting in a warning being issued. On 10/15/2021, water violation WR 2102707 was initiated, resulting in a $100 fine that is yet to be presented. This is the third violation and the fine is $200.
A ruling case WR 2102871. The base of the evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the water resources penalty fine for illegal sprinkling imposed by section 111-7, Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Part B, Public Utilities. I grant the violator 21 days to come into compliance to pay the water penalty fine imposed, or the payment is not made by that date, a fine of $30 per day be assessed. Next case.
Page 2, number 4, case number WR 2102974. The owner, Anthony Cusell and Dion Cusell, location 11748 Albatross Lane. We have service and no one is present.
I am Carmine Pisano with Hillsborough County Code Enforcement. This is the case of WR 2102974. On Friday, 11/12/2021 at 5:37 a.m., Officer Ted Baker arrived at 11748 Albatross Lane to observe the sprinkler system watering the area on the front right side of the driveway. This is a permitted watering day, but conducted during non-watering hours. Notice of violation was mailed on 12/2/2021. Default letter mailed on 1/10/2022. And notice of hearing was mailed to 11/2022. History is on 10/20/2021, water violation WR 2102797 was initiated, resulting in a warning being issued. This is a second violation and the fine is $100.
Ruling case WR 2102974, the basin evidence presented, the violator has failed to pay the water resources penalty fine for illegal sprinkling imposed by section 111-7 Hillsborough County Codes of Ordinances and Laws, Part B, Public Utilities. Grant the violator 30 days to pay the water penalty fine imposed. In order, if payment is not made by that date, a fine of $20 per day be assessed. Next case, please.
That concludes the water ordinance cases. Turn to page 3 under landscaping and natural resource cases. Number 5, case number L 216865. The owner is Casca Investments LLC, and the location is a vacant commercial property at Woodbury Road west of I-75. We have service and we have some parties signed in. If you're here for this case, come up to the podium, please.
Microphone, sir. And Ms. Myers going to swear you in first.
He's an attorney. I don't need to swear him. If it's the other side, do.
Before you swear him in, Your Honor, I hired a court reporter and a translator. The court reporter is here. The translator got lost and he or she is about 5 minutes away. Is there a way to bypass this case?
We'll come back. We'll do the cases are here, and we'll do you before we do the ones that aren't present.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
That'll make it happen anyways.
Did you line them up on the?
Next case, please.
Turn to page 4, number 7, case number L 216684. The owner is Ravindra A. Patram, 7832 Carriage Point Drive. We have service. And someone is here for this case. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. One moment. She's going to turn that on for you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
And state your name and address.
Ravindra Andy Patram.
Get a little closer to the microphone.
Ravindra Patram, 7832 Carriage Point Drive, Gibsonton, Florida, 33534.
Thank you.
Welcome.
One second, sir. We're having a little bit of technical difficulty. Thanks.
Just read all the.
Case L 216684. Yeah. This is unplugged.
Mute that.
Don't Case L 216684, owner violator, Ravandra A. Patrum, violation address 7832 Carriage Point Drive, Gibbston. Violation observed, improper pruning resulting in the effective removal of a required street tree for Carriage Point subdivision. Ordinance violated section 6.06, first inspection March 5th, 2021, first notice March 8th, 2021, last inspection March 9th, 2022, inspections conducted 3. I will turn this over to the inspector.
So John Beavers, Environmental Investigation Supervisor. This photograph was taken by Lori Moretta on January 26, 2021, showing a tree that basically the canopy was entirely removed. Next slide. This picture I took on March 8th, 2022. This is the epicormal sprouting and the responsive growth stemming off from that severe wound. Next.
Staff recommendation, install the required street tree within 30 calendar days for Carriage Point Phase 1 subdivision. Trees must be 1-inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, and Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list. County approved palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk and at a ratio of 2-to-1 ratio. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Okay, sir, what would you like to tell me? You have to turn on your microphone first, I think. There you go.
I didn't know I cut it wrong.
I'm sorry?
I didn't know I trimmed the tree wrong.
Okay.
Because it was acorns and leaves. It was just all over the yard all the time. So I didn't know.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's all. It's truth.
And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Are you okay with the timeline in which to get it replaced? So 30 days?
Can I have a little bit more time than that if it's possible?
Okay. Any concern from staff to give them a little more time to get that done?
We can do 45.
45 days work for you, sir?
All right. Yes. Can I have a printout of that if possible?
They're going to respond. You're going to get it in the mail. So it'll come to you in the mail with the recommendations as well as the contact information for the
what
folks.
Okay. No problem.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Thank
So
you.
I'll go ahead and make my ruling. Thank you.
All right.
The ruling case L 216884. Based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity violation, action taken by the violator and the violator's history. I can take a stab at it doing it from memory, but it's April Fool's. I don't know that I'll be able to get it. 216684. And I apologize to the recording secretary in advance. Thank you. I'll restate my motion. I rule in case L 216684 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations and require the violator to install the required street tree within 45 calendar days for Carriage Point Phase 1 subdivision. Tree must be 1-inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, and Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list. County approved palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk and at a 2-to-1 ratio. Failure to meet this timeline results in a daily fine of $150 per day. Next case, please.
Turn to page 5, number 9, case number L216848. The owner is South Hills Church Incorporated, location 5505 State Road 674. We have service and we have a party virtual here to speak on this case. Who's here for this case? Raise your hand on the screen. Okay. Hi, sir. Raise your right hand and I'm going to give you the oath of witness. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. State your name and address.
Zelvis Applin. Our church address is 5505 State Road 674, Waimama, Florida 33598.
Thank you. And what is your affiliation with the church?
I am the president and pastor.
Thank you.
Yes.
One more moment, Pastor. We're almost ready with our technology on this end.
No worries. Thank you.
Case L216848. Owner violator South Hills Church, Inc. Violation address 5505 674 Highway, Waimama. Violation observed, unpermitted removal of 4 trees measuring 24, 32, 20, 20 for a total of 96 inches DBH, diameter 4.5 feet above grade. Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection April 29, 2021. First notice April 30th, 2021. Last inspection March 29, 2022. Inspections conducted 3. Turn this over to the inspector.
This is John Beavers, Environmental Investigation Supervisor. On April 29th, I responded to a complaint and took these pictures of the four oak trees that had been cut, the stumps remaining depicted by the arrows. Next. Next slide. On March 29th, this picture was taken again, depicting the stumps of the trees, some growth on this center one, but they remain and no restorative plantings observed. Next. This is project number 58, project number 58551. The site plans are currently in for South Hills Church, currently in for the in the county review process.
Staff recommendation, plan or donate 48 inches DBH of approved shade restoration trees or contribute 48 inches to the restoration fund or a combination of plantings and contribution of the fund within 9 months, or incorporate an additional 48 inches of restoration trees into the proposed South Hills Church landscape plan and install within 9 months. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, minimum 8 feet in height, Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
You clarify the reason for the extended timeline, or are you waiting for the construction to be complete? It seems unusual.
It's to allow the process for the permitting.
Excellent. Thank you. Pastor, what would you like to tell me?
We are just ignorant of the rules, and you know, when you train in seminary, they don't teach you county rules, and so we do offer and extend an apology to the county, as we want to be in good standing and good relationship with you guys. So we will comply by the ruling today.
Okay. Any concerns with the 9-month timeline? Sounds like it's going to fall in line with what you're trying to do out there.
That is correct, and we'll address that as quickly as we can.
Okay, no problem. Excellent. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
In case L216848, the based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes of ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history, concur with staff's recommendations to require the violator to plant or donate 48 inches DBH of approved shade or restoration trees, or contribute 48 inches to the restoration fund, or a combination of plantings and contribution to the fund within 9 months, or incorporate an additional 48 inches of restoration trees into the proposed South Hills Church landscape plan and install within 9 months. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, a minimum of 8 feet in height. Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list is appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner is responsible for this violation. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above result in a daily fine of $125 per day. Thank you, Pastor.
Thank you.
Next case, please.
Okay, turn back to page 3, number 5, case number L216865. The owner is Casca Investments LLC, and the location is a vacant commercial property at Woodbury Road at west of I-75.
I'm sorry, before we get to that one, gentlemen, I want to get through the other people that are still in the audience, since we had to skip. So before, we'll hit you last before we get to the folks that aren't here. So.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, no worries. Let's do the other folks that are in,
Sure.
and then we'll go back to them. All right, but you're all here now, correct? Excellent, thank you.
Let's turn over to page 5 then, number 10. Case number L216935. The owner is Jennifer Marie Parisi Floor and Gary Bruce Floor. Location 1715 Thompson Road. We have service, and we have someone virtual for this case. Good morning, sir. Raise your right hand, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
And state your name and address.
Gary Flory, Jr., 1715 Thompson Road, 33547.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Case L216935. Owner violated Jennifer Marie Parisi Flore, Gary Bruce Floor. Violation address 1715 Thompson Road, Lithia. Violation observed. Unpermitted removal of 10 stable palms. Ordinance violated, section 4.01. First inspection, June 10, 2021. First notice, June 18, 2021. Last inspection, March 23, 2022. Inspections conducted 3. I will turn this over to the inspector.
Good morning, Tony Hood, Hillsborough County. Responded to a complaint that palm trees had been removed from the property. The picture on the left shows an arrow pointing to a stump of a recently removed palm tree, and the picture to the right shows a pile of palm trees that were removed without a permit. Next slide. Recheck done March 23rd, 2022, shows no new replantings on the property. Next slide.
Staff recommendation, plan to donate 10 palm trees within 60 calendar days. Palm trees must be 8 feet in trunk height and chosen from Hillsborough County approved tree list. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Okay, sir, what would you like to tell me?
I was unaware that we had to have a permit. The place was overgrown, and that's my fault. Tony told me about what needs to be done. The problem is, if you saw that second picture, the county is burying the power lines, Pico. So we're waiting for them. They were supposed to be done in December of this past year. They're still not done, and that's where we're planting a number of trees, and we're just waiting for them to finish. And I don't know when they're going to be finished.
Okay, do you think 60 days is enough time to get that done?
I think more like 3 to 6 months, because they were supposed to be done in December. They'll show up 1 week and then they'll move to another road. Won't see them for 3 weeks. They still, if you saw that orange barricade around there, they still have to put the transformer on that, and they're moving heavy equipment, and they've tore up the whole street pretty much.
Understand.
Sir, is there any other locations that these trees can go?
This is the plan that I had talked to Tony about, where we wanted to put them, because we do have livestock here, and all it would do is the cows would just tear them apart.
All right, the most we can do, or you can also donate if you wish, if you don't want to replant.
How does that work?
You can get with the inspector. He can give you all the details on how we donate to the parks.
Okay.
And you can set it up with our park service, and they'll tell you what they're looking for, and you can just donate instead.
I know we're planting trees. It's just I don't know when they're going to be finished. I mean, but I'll talk to Tony on that. I just needed more time.
Actually remove the trees for the Tico access? Is it in the same location?
Excuse me, I missed what you said.
Did you initially remove the trees for Tico for them to do their underground work? Is it in the same location?
No, the trees that we actually removed, there were trees, the palms were growing in between our oaks. I didn't know there was a fine for cutting palm trees down, on my stupidity. But the ones we cut down were dead in between the palms, and some of the oaks. And then the live ones you see, we cut down 3 that were live. I just didn't know that I should have taken pictures.
Understand. Tony, are you still online?
Yes, I'm here.
So I don't want to force this gentleman to have to pay for trees if he's trying to be patient and put them in a specific location at the expense of our famous utility company. So I think what I'd like to do here is do a 90-day recommendation in place of 60, and then just have you stay in contact with the owner. If that becomes an issue, then we can address it at a later date if they're impacted by that. Is that okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, does that work for you?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Tony.
Okay. No problem. All right. So I will revise staff recommendations in my ruling. I rule in case L 216935, the basis of the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County codes or ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the action taken by the violator and the violator's history, I concur with staff's recommendations and require the violator to plant or donate 10 palm trees within 90 calendar days. Palm trees must be 8 feet height in trunk height and chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Go to meet any of the timelines listed above, result in a daily fine of $150 per day. All right, sir, you have about 90 days, and then just stay close to Tony and work through that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Next case, please.
Turn to page 7, number 14, case number L217129. The owner is Greater New Salem Primitive Baptist Church Incorporated, location 6414 North 47th Street. We have service and someone is present here. If you're here for this case, please come up now. Good morning. Raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And state your name and address.
I'm Pastor Benjamin Curry, and that is 2909 Beagle Place, and that's Sefner, Florida.
Thank you.
Apparently our computer system knows it's April Fool's Day. I don't know. We're getting close.
That's all right.
Yes, I can't read through that. No, I understand. Okay, thank you.
Case L217129, owner violator Greater New Salem Primitive Baptist Church, Inc. Violation address folio 039704-0000, vacant residential on North 47th Street, Tampa. Violation observe unpermitted land alterations, disposal of fill on the property. Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection November 1st, 2021. First notice November 1st, 2021. Last inspection March 9th, 2022. Inspections conducted 3. On November 1st, 2021, I responded out to this complaint where they have conducted land alterations, removal of small trees under 5-inch DBH, understory brush, bushes, and they have piles of fill on the property. March 9, 2022, they did stop the land alterations. Stuff started to grow back. The piles of fill still remain, no permits in the system, and I haven't had contact in recent months. Staff recommendation, submit a compliant natural resource permit application to address the land alterations within 60 calendar days. Obtain and finalize the natural resource permit after receipt of the application within 180 calendar days, or remove deposited fill back to natural grade within 60 calendar days. The owner, Greater New Salem Primitive Baptist Church, Inc., is responsible for resolving this matter with the county. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Okay, Pastor.
Yes, sir. I want to begin by saying we do apologize for not being aware of what we can and cannot do on the property that the church purchased and on. We have no problem making the corrections that need to be done. We did to speak with Ryan Ellis, Bill Lynch, about planting trees and putting trees back on the property, as well as removing anything that needs to be addressed on the backside of that property.
Is it your intent to build on this property
Yes,
at a future date?
We're planning to build on that property. We contacted a general contractor to make all the necessary address for us permits and all that we didn't do at the beginning, that we would acknowledge that we should have done.
Understand. So the staff's recommendations is giving you the option of restoring it back to the existing conditions or going through the permit process.
Yes.
You'll have that decision to make.
Okay.
So any of those timelines you have any concerns with?
Those are fine. I think we can address some of them in terms of the removal of what is left on the back, as well as whatever needs to be done for the general contractor to get.
Excellent. Just stay in touch with your inspector and work through that process.
Okay.
You'll get all this in the mail as well.
Okay, you understand that you need to be submitting a complete permit application for the land alteration within 60 days. So is your contractor ready to do that in 60 days?
But I don't think so. I don't know. We've been meeting with them.
You're going to go ahead and go with the removal instead?
Well, I'm going to make sure we talk with them first before we make that decision, the contractor.
Okay, so if it looks Well, I'm just curious if it looks like you're going to keep the fill there, I want to be sure that you are okay with the 60 days.
Could we get more time on that?
I would say 90 days at the most.
That'd be good for us to address it with that.
Okay, so 90 days to submit a compliant natural resource permit application or removal of fill within 60 calendar days. 90 for both. Okay.
Okay.
90 for both. Thank you, Pastor. Appreciate you coming down.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I rule in case L 217129 that based on the evidence presented, I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes and Ordinances listed in staff's presentation. Further, based on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator and the violator's history concur with staff's recommendations to require the violator to submit a compliant natural resource permit application to address the land alterations within 90 calendar days. Obtain and finalize the natural resources permit after receipt of the application within 180 calendar days, or remove deposited fill back to natural grade within 90 calendar days. The owner, Greater New Salem Primitive Baptist Church Incorporated, is responsible for resolving this matter with the county. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timelines. Timelines listed above. Daily fine of $125 per day. Next case, please.
Okay, let's now go back to page 3, number 5. Case number L 216865, Costco Investments LLC. Again, it's the vacant commercial property at Woodbury Road west of I-75. And the parties can now come up one more time. Okay. Okay, raise your right hand to take the oath of witness, and the translator as well needs to take the oath. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. I do.
Okay, and I need both of you to give your name and address into the microphone, please.
Su nombre y dirección, por favor.
Juan Miguel Cosca,
Juan Miguel Cosca,
la dirección es 10.418,
10,418
Oak,
Canopy Johnson,
Tornado Sasa, Florida,
Sasa, Florida,
33592.
33592.
And the attorney, please state your name and address, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Good morning, Your Honor. I'm Marcos Marchena with the law firm of Marchena and Graham, 976 Lake Baldwin Lane, Suite 101, Orlando, Florida, 32814.
Thank you.
Case L 216865, owner violator Costco Investments LLC.
La violación es
Violation address, vacant land, Woodbury Road, folio 067-886-0000. Violation observed, unpermitted tree removal of 292 trees consisting of laurel oaks, live oaks, water oaks, maples, and hickory trees for a total of 3,212 dBH inches, diameter at 4.5 feet.
ahí indica cuál es la violación.
Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection May 11, 2021, first notice July 2nd, 2021, last inspection March 16, 2022, inspections conducted 4. I will turn this over to Inspector Hood.
Good morning, Tony Hood, Hillsborough County. This is a photograph showing an aerial of the property. It was taken in 2021. It was taken for the property appraisals website. Next slide. This is a Google Street View showing the property where the trees were removed before they were removed, taken January 2020. Next slide. And here's what the property looks like after the tree removals have taken place. And this was taken May 11th, 2021. Next slide. And here's another vantage point showing that the trees were removed from the property, again taken May 11th, 2021. Next slide. A tree survey was taken at a neighboring property with a similar canopy and similar species of trees. The tree survey was a 150 foot by 150 foot section. There were 73 trees within this tree survey, and the average DBH was 11 inches. Next slide. The property was divided into four 150-foot by 150-foot sections to establish the total amount of trees removed based on the tree survey. Recheck was done March 16th, 2022, and it shows no new plantings on site. Next slide.
Staff recommendation, plan to donate 3,212 inches DBH of approved shade restoration trees or contribute 3,212 inches to the restoration fund or a combination of the plantings and contribution to the fund within 120 calendar days. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, minimum 8 feet in height, Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Okay, Counselor, what would you like to tell me? Microphone, sir. Good morning.
All right, I'm going to learn that lesson.
That's okay. Do the same thing.
Before I have my client testify, could I ask Mr. Hood just a few questions?
Sure.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hood. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Wait for the, what I have up on the screen to come up. Mr. Hood, I'm Marcos Marchena. I'm the attorney for the property owner, and I just want to clarify a few things. I noticed the location where you did the survey. Is there any reason why you picked that location as opposed to farther back on the property next to it, or farther to one side or another?
I chose that specific location because it was close to the location where the trees were removed, and it was a similar canopy.
Okay.
Based on aerial imagery.
And did you find in that 150 by 150 area, did you find a lot of trees that were below the 5-inch diameter?
I did find some trees that were below the 5-inch diameter.
So can you give me an idea of how many trees you actually measured?
I measured around 20 to 30 different trees. I didn't measure all 73.
You did or did not?
I did not.
You did not?
I
Okay.
know. I did a tree survey. I was unable to. I tried speaking with your client. I was trying to figure out how many trees were removed, and I didn't get any info back from him.
Okay. That's actually all the questions that I have for Mr. Hood. Thank you very much, Mr. Hood. Thank you, sir. Your Honor, I'd like to have Mr. Kuska testify with his own eyewitness testimony. And then I'd like an opportunity to come up and make argument.
That would be fine.
Buenos días. Yo soy el. ¿Quiere que lea esto?
Please make sure you're speaking into the microphone so it can be picked
Whose
up.
voice do you want to hear on the microphone?
He has a, I'm
Wait,
sorry.
wait,
We're gonna want to hear the translator
Okay.
more so than, so if he can speak and the translator we can hear,
Perfect.
that'll be fine. But the translator cannot read his speech. He's gonna have to tell you what.
Okay. Entonces, usted habla despacio
Okay.
y usted dice lo que él le dice.
Entonces acérquese, por favor, y me lee despacio. Okay.
A él no necesitan oírlo usted.
I understand. Yes.
Ok, mi nombre es Juan Miguel Cosca.
My name is Juan Miguel Cosca.
Vivo en el 10.418
I live on 10,000
Cannabis Johnson en Tono de Sasa, Florida.
en Fano. Déjame, por favor.
Tono de Sasa, Florida.
No, la dirección, por favor. 10418 Oak Canopy Junction, Tonatosasa, Florida.
Ok, soy el gerente y único dueño de Cosca Investment LLC.
I am the owner, the sole owner of Cosca Investment LC.
Tengo varias propiedades en la ciudad de Tampa.
I have different properties in the city of Tampa.
Una de ellas es Woodbury.
One of them is Woodbury.
El año pasado
Last year,
determinamos proceder con esa propiedad
we finished with that property
y convertirla en una más del negocio que yo tengo,
and make it one of the business that I have,
que consiste en parquear camiones,
which is a parking lot for trucks.
más bien como open stores. Se le llama open stores también a
Something that the business is also called open storage.
en Woodbury, debido a la experiencia que yo tengo desarrollando las demás propiedades,
In Woodbury, due to the experience that I have developing other properties,
tenía entendido
I understood
que la ciudad me daba el 50% de crédito de los árboles que hay en la propiedad que voy a desarrollar.
that the city would give me 50% of the credit on the trees, on the properties that I develop.
Debido a eso, yo procedí a limpiar la propiedad, en el cual tengo varias fotos donde se ven que son prácticamente matojos la mayoría de los árboles que yo removí.
I decided to clean up because of that, I decided to clean up the property. And most of what I cut is shrubs.
Nunca fue mi intención violar la ley.
It was never my intention to violate the law.
Yo contraté un ingeniero para que procedamos con el proceso.
I hired an engineer to proceed with the process.
Pero debido a la pandemia, se hizo muy difícil el proceso.
But due to the pandemic, then the process became difficult to follow.
También el ingeniero me dijo que estaba muy ocupado en otros proyectos y que no podía proceder con ese proyecto en septiembre.
The engineer also stated that he was very busy with other products, so he couldn't follow through back in September.
No obstante, debido a que no hemos podido seguir adelante con el proceso, yo traté de conseguir otro ingeniero.
We haven't been able to continue the process. I tried to find another engineer.
El ingeniero acordamos de nuevo que iba a continuar con el proceso.
With the previous engineer, we agreed that we were going to continue with the process.
Y es lo que vamos a seguir adelante ahora con el proceso de continuar. Yo tengo varias fotos aquí.
And this is what we plan to do right now. Just follow that process that we had before. I do have some pictures that I like to show.
Are they on your cell phone or do you have copies of them?
Lo tiene en el teléfono.
Son el teléfono, lo tienen la fecha del año pasado.
They're on the phone, sir, and they have last year's date.
Unfortunately, if you submit them, you'd have to submit your phone and then we have to keep it. And it looks like a really nice phone. So I don't think you want to do that.
Is it possible for him to email that photo to the clerk so that he can show it and he can submit it as a record?
Can we do that live?
We can do that immediately.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to show it. We could take it for the record, but we wouldn't be able to see it today.
No, but he can show it on his phone, on the overhead.
Sure, we can give it a try if you want to show them on the.
Puedo probar ponerlas ahí a ver si se muestran.
Fotos que fueron tomadas antes de empezar el proceso y mientras el proceso.
Pictures were taken before the process and after the process.
Describe the process. And what his process is. Ask him what it is.
Can you explain what we're looking at this moment?
Es o pues lo que muestra.
Okay, son fotos que yo tomé en la propiedad antes de empezar el proceso.
These are pictures that I took on the property before beginning the process.
Donde se observa que la mayoría de lo que se removió fueron matojos.
Where you can see that most of Most of what was removed is just shrubs.
Do you have anything that indicates where these pictures were taken? Any pictures that show reference of adjacent properties or something? So that this isn't just the picture of a random tree in Hillsborough County?
Tiene fotos que muestren dónde se tomó esto, porque estas son fotos que únicamente muestran un sitio en cualquier lugar de condado.
Ok, esa es la propiedad. Ahí estoy dentro de la propiedad y me imagino que mi teléfono te localiza dónde fueron tomadas exactamente.
That's another picture of the property, and I imagine that my phone can locate the coordinates for the site.
All right, well, sir, we're not trying to deny that there was trees under 5-inch DBH. We didn't account for any trees under 5-inch DBH on the property. But your pictures show from the front view, you don't show into the property. There is no way that the adjacent properties had the size trees that they had and yours did not.
Do I have an opportunity to present my case?
Is your client done testifying and you want to tag in or?
Lo que él dijo, yo no tengo acceso a la propiedad por el frente, por eso es que no puedo tomar fotos por el frente. El vecino me dio acceso por el lado y por eso es que no tengo fotos de cuando estaba trabajando.
I don't have access.
Sir, at the microphone, I'm gonna need you to step closer to the microphone, sir, so recording secretary downtown can hear you.
I don't have access from the front of the property. The neighbor allowed me to go around and took pictures from the side, and that's why I don't have a picture of the front of the property.
Okay, Counselor, I have some questions for your client. You want me to wait till you're done?
No, please go ahead.
Okay. So, first question, your testimony stated that you received word from the county that you would get 50% credit on the trees. Can you tell me who told you that? And do you have paperwork that shows that?
En su testimonio usted indicó que el condado le iba a dar 50% de crédito. ¿Quién le dio esa información?
En otra propiedad que yo desarrollé,
I got that info on another property that I developed.
yo tenía entendido.
Is your property adjacent to this property that you've already done this?
Una propiedad a la par de esta propiedad.
Es el mismo concepto de negocio.
It's just the same concept of the same business concept, the same.
Is your same business concept in Hillsborough County?
Dice el mismo proceso en el condado de Hillsborough.
Sí.
And on that property, did somebody tell you that do you have documentation that shows that you get a 50% credit on all trees that you remove from any property in Hillsborough County?
Y en esa propiedad, alguien le indicó que usted tenía un 50% en cualquier propiedad del condado de Hillsborough.
Okay, yo desarrollé una propiedad en el 5625 East Broadway Avenue.
I developed a property on 5625 East Broadway Avenue.
Donde cuando hice el proceso, lo hice yo personalmente porque en aquel entonces estaba abierta la ciudad.
So I did that process on that property.
En la ciudad me dejó saber que yo siempre que fuera a desarrollar un proyecto así, tenía el 50% de los árboles para remover.
And the city indicated that anytime I did that kind of development, I could get 50% credit on the trees removed.
So first of all, Broadway sounds like it's city of Tampa. This is Hillsborough County. And secondly, if you don't have anything in writing that says that you can develop this way on just timing your testimony and you did great. You don't have anything that says any Hillsborough County, that's specific to that particular property. So I'm trying to understand where you have an idea that this property was what you could do.
Si usted no tiene ningún documento escrito, ningún permiso, entonces quisiera saber cómo es que usted llegó a la conclusión de que tenía ese crédito. Que necesita un documento que muestre que el condado, la ciudad le está otorgando ese crédito.
Bueno, eso me lo dieron en el proyecto anterior que yo desarrollé en la tabla de...
Le dieron un documento. Oh, they gave me a document on a project that I did before that one.
Yo tenía entendido que era el mismo procedimiento para
And I understood that it was the same process
pues tienen la misma zonificación.
and for the same zoning standard.
Okay, and then in your testimony, you talked about your engineer, you had hired an engineer, that process fell through, and then you hired a second engineer. Were the hiring of both engineers prior to you clearing this property, during clearing this property, or after clearing this property?
Usted indicó que había contratado un ingeniero para que le ayudara con el proceso y que luego contrató otro ingeniero.
Es el mismo ingeniero.
Sí, el mismo ingeniero. ¿Lo contrató antes del proceso, durante el proceso o después del proceso?
En el instante que empiezo a desarrollar la propiedad, yo contrato al ingeniero. Lo que normalmente...
When I began the project, I hired the engineer.
Normalmente cuando yo desarrollo otras propiedades, no he tenido problema en limpiarla. Y básicamente llevo el proceso junto, lo que es limpiarla y que el ingeniero va haciendo los permisos.
And normally the process goes, I clean the property and at the same time, the engineer is getting the permits.
Porque tenía entendido que si los árboles no tenían más de 4 o 5 pulgadas, no necesitaba permiso.
And I understood that if the trees didn't have more than 4 or 5 inches, 4 o 5 pulgadas
4
de
pulgadas,
diámetro,
creo que si son
de diámetro.
Si tienen más de 4, menos de 4 pulgadas, no necesito
Pero de diámetro.
de diámetro.
Those trees that are less than 4 inches diameter, that no permit is necessary.
Entonces, se prolongó mucho lo del permiso debido a la pandemia. Al ingeniero no le dieron cita para la ciudad hasta septiembre.
So because of the pandemic, the process went too long and the engineer got an appointment until the month of September.
Y lo tuvieron que hacer vía Zoom.
And they did that via Zoom.
Porque estaba cerrada la oficina de la ciudad para realizar los permisos.
Because the city building was closed, so we couldn't get through with the permits.
Okay, and is it your testimony that every tree on this property was less than 5 inches in diameter?
Y es su testimonio de que todos los árboles en esta propiedad tienen menos de 5 pulgadas de diámetro.
No, no todos los árboles.
Not
La
all the
mayoría
trees.
de los árboles que yo removí sí tenían menos de 5 pulgadas.
Most of the trees that I removed, yes, were less than 5 inches diameter.
So you removed trees that were greater than 5 inches in diameter, and you knew that you needed a permit to do that.
Entonces, botó árboles que tenían más de 5 pulgadas de diámetro. ¿Y sabía usted que necesitaba un permiso para eso?
No es que necesitaba permiso, yo pensaba que como me daban el 50%, yo lo que hice que dejé los árboles, ahora mismo hay alrededor de 30 árboles en la propiedad que no se removieron.
Okay, permítame. No. I understood that because of the credit, I could take out some trees and...
Ahora, yo dejé alrededor de 30 árboles, entre 25 y 30 árboles, estimo que se deben haber removido en esa cantidad de más de 5 pulgadas.
And I estimate that we removed somewhere between 25 and 30 trees that exceeded the 5-inch diameter regulation.
Sobre mi criterio, que pensaba que podía remover el 50% de los árboles de más de 5 pulgadas.
And according to my information, I thought that I could remove 50% of the trees.
Understand. Okay. Thank you, gentlemen. Counselor?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, I'm Marcos Marchena. There is no question that the property owner removed a number of trees that exceeded the 5-inch diameter. The real question is how many? You may have missed it in the translation, but yes, the property that he was referring to was a city property, and that was his confusion. The information he had gotten was with respect to the city, and he thought that it applied the same way in the county. What I think is important to take into account, Your Honor, is you're trying to decide how many inches, right? But before you even get to how many inches, we can try to figure out a way to resolve this that doesn't get to that that question. Koska bought this property last year for $140,000. As you can tell, his English is very, very limited. Before the pandemic, he was able to go into governmental offices and through very limited language, but playing a little bit of charades, they could figure out what it was that he needed, and he could get the project done. And he's gotten probably 5 or 6 projects done in that fashion, not in the county, but in this area. He was not able to do that when COVID hit and everyone went to work at home. And the county, I don't know if it's still working at home, but from home, but they certainly were in 2001. I think that built into some of the problem and some of the frustration. He did hire an engineer. Here is. And I do have copies of these to submit. Okay. Here's a sample property of the business. Basically, he allows truckers to park on these properties, which is a needed use. As you can see, because of the use of the property is heavy industrial, so the number of trees required, which under the county code for those M zoning, for this size property, the trees that would be required by our math was about 13. As he indicated, he's got about 25 to 30 trees on the property. This is the post-site plan that shows the trees remaining on the property. They range from 8 inches to one that is 34 inches in diameter, according to the tree surveyor. This is to show you that, in fact, he did hire an engineer who submitted the project to the county in July. He purchased the property in April. This is a copy of the pre-submittal for that meeting that was held on via Zoom on September 14 last year. All right, great. And this is the intake checklist from the property having been submitted. Now, what happened was right after that, the engineer got too busy, as many people are these days, and basically told them, look, this project is too small, and there were some complications, according to the engineer, because of this proposed building right here. So the engineer said, I can't work on the project, or I'm too busy to work on the project. He has tried as a small business person to find another engineer without success. In the last few weeks, he was able to get the initial engineer to come back and agree to do the project for him. So a couple of arguments to present to you, Your Honor, for your consideration. One is, based upon the testimony you have today, it is clear that some trees were cut down. I don't believe that the testimony that you have today establishes that there were over 2,000 inches of trees cut from the street that were above 5 inches in diameter. The question that was asked by the gentleman of how do we establish what that picture shows? Well, you have an eyewitness testimony telling you these were photographs of the property before I removed the trees. That establishes what the pictures were of. That would be accepted in any court. My suggestion, Your Honor, to resolve this would be to give Mr. Koska the time to process his permit. I think it's probably going to take a year to actually get the project done. Figure out how many trees he would not have been able to remove. and then determine the fine at that time. Alternatively, I would urge you to consider a reasonable fine in the amount of perhaps $5,000. Because I don't think that the testimony is clear that the number of trees that the staff is suggesting were removed, trees that were above 5 inches in diameter. That is what I would urge you to consider as a way to resolve this. He has no problem going forward with the project, getting the permits. That will establish how many trees he was required to keep. He will either replant them or make a contribution for the difference in the trees that are not on the property, based upon the project that he gets approved. This property is zoned M, so it is heavy industrial. So the use that will be allowed will be fairly intensive, similar to the use that I showed earlier from another property. I'm happy to answer any questions, sir.
Okay.
Sir. Question. So your client's been through this process before and he knows that he needed required permits to do the work.
Not in the county.
Okay, but
He has not done a project
in the city, did he get required permits?
He did get the required permits, but he did, as he explained in his testimony, he was able to clear trees before he actually had the permits in hand. I haven't reviewed the city code. I don't know if that's permissible, but that's what he believed the process to be, and that's the way that he was doing it.
And the next thing I want to do, I want to bring in our staff, certified arborist, John Beavers, to speak on the tree survey.
That'd be terrific.
John Beavers, Environmental Investigation Supervisor. First of all, Tony Hood is, I'm his immediate supervisor. Tony and I went over in depth. If you go to the aerial, this is something we didn't take lightly. There's a large number of trees. We did some measurements on tree canopies. You can see the outline of tree canopies on the neighboring property that he had permission to access. It was a estimate, but I want to stress it is a severe conservative estimate. If we had the benefit of a survey crew surveying all trees 5 inches DBH and above, which are protected in Hillsborough County and require a permit, this number would probably be doubled, if not a lot more than what it is at this point. So this is a very conservative number for the amount of trees, and any of the, if you go down to the ground photographs viewing the side of the canopies, you can see a large number of large trees. When trees get to this size in the canopy coverage, if you want to go to the next slide where we had a picture of the adjacent property after the clearing. When trees get to a certain size, they weed out smaller trees below it. So Tony was able to walk around the forest floor here and get some dimensions on trees within that 150 by 150. You can see on both sides, if you zoom in, this is a response of light. This area right here gets southern exposure, and a lot of little trees sprout up. But when you have a canopy coverage on like the slide before that weeds out these smaller growing trees, and you get a full canopy of larger trees. I just want to stress that if you go and just take a sample and measure the canopies, which you can see the outline of on these photographs, you will see that an 11-inch average is very conservative, and the number I would stress would be very conservative as well.
Your Honor, may I ask this gentleman a question?
Sure.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Couple of questions. So you agree that you did not, or that Mr. Hood did not measure every tree in this area, and that the information that you guys came up with is an estimate that is not accurate?
This is an estimate, a conservative estimate, where you take a random. This is a recognized silviculture random sampling of trees, and it is calculated and broadcasted across this entire site. No, we did not survey it. I'm stressing that a survey would have been calculated at a lot higher value than what we came up with.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, my point stands that the estimate the staff has admitted is inaccurate. We can have that argument all day. I would rather not, okay? I would rather not. I would rather agree that, or I would rather ask you to rule to give him time to go get the permits, and then based upon that, determine what trees he would need to replace or contribute based upon those approvals.
Staff, do you have any concerns or appears that trees have already been removed? Do you have any concerns with delaying a ruling on this until after they've gone through the permitting process?
Yes.
Yes, sir. He is aware of the permitting process. It sounds like he's already has someone prepared. We need to know, as you saw in the earlier slide, in regards to another case where they had submitted some plans. We asked that they put the restoration trees on that plan. We would recommend that that's what he would do in this situation, is add the trees to that plan. So our best recommendation change would be increasing the time frame in regards to the submittal. Was 120 days sufficient for submitting those set of plans?
Microphone, sir. Microphone. Okay.
So if he were to submit his engineer were to submit the plans within 120 days, obviously it's going to take some time to get those plans approved, but as long as he submits them within 120 days, showing what additional trees would be placed in the property, then he can continue through the process until the process is finalized.
The permit won't change the violation, no matter what. The violation is set. So that's going to have to be taken care of no matter what. And what would happen is they could throw that into the permit. So you're still going to be required to either plant that much or pay the restoration fund.
I understand that's what you're recommending, but I think His Honor has the ability to make, in fact, has the duty to make the final determination of what the number of inches are. I don't think that's staff's call. I think based upon the testimony of both parties, His Honor has the ability to make that determination.
And that is correct. What I would recommend in this situation, looking at the recommendation, since it does say plant or donate in 120 days, change that to submit the plan, and then to plant or donate in an additional 120 days. Does that, if you want to reduce the inches, Magistrate, you can make that decision today based on the staff's presentation and to what Mr. Costco has presented to you. But I will recommend that you put an additional 120 days for the planting.
Your Honor, I'm not sure that I understand the 120 days. I guess they are not recommending that you give him time to actually get the permits so that we know what.
That's what she's saying. She's giving 120 days for which to submit and review for the permit, and then an additional 120 days after that time frame to complete either the difference of what you're adding or what the county is requiring.
To whatever inches you consider need to be.
Whatever inches I rule on. Just to confirm, staff, that is correct. You want 120 days?
Sir, I'm going to bring in our manager of natural resources at this moment.
Okay.
It's Carrie Moore, Manager of Natural Resources.
Good morning.
Good morning. So the permits, as Ms. Hall stated, there could be the permit acquired at 120 calendar days. That is a reasonable time frame to achieve the permit. And what she was stating was that finalize it within 120 days. But please be aware that within the review process, it will not reduce any of the inches that have previously been removed.
So, Judge, my point stands. This is, he made a mistake. There's no question. If you want to assess a fine, a reasonable fine for that I understand. But if under the project that he is approved, he would be able to remove the overwhelming majority of the inches that he did remove, then why should he be fined for that, just for having made a mistake in timing? And that's the part that doesn't seem reasonable in the approach that the staff is taking. It appears punitive as opposed to corrective.
And I believe the fine is, being placed because he did not acquire a permit.
I understand, but if you give him time to get the permit, we will know how many trees he removed improperly, right? And the rest of them will have been removed prematurely, but not improperly.
But we won't know exactly what trees have been removed properly or improperly based on your testimony. Yours is 30, theirs is
well, you
280.
You will make that determination, right?
Right.
You will make that determination, but it still makes sense to look to see what the permit ends up requiring, right? Does it say 30 trees have to be there, which are already on the site, or does it say 50 trees have to be there, which means he's short 20?
So you do not want 120 days for the ability to acquire the permit and finalize.
Well, no, I do. 120 days to submit and 120 days to obtain the permit, I think is what Ms. Hull indicated. But then it's a question of how many inches you're going to say he needs to end up replacing, because if the answer is he has to replace or pay for 2,200 or 2,900 and some inches, then he would end up with this site full of trees, which he then has to remove, right, in order to be able to proceed with his project once it's permitted.
I think the intent from Ms. Moore, her testimony was to give you an opportunity to get a partial credit for whatever will be allowed on that property because it's been cleared. So it would be the difference of those two fines. The fine still stands and the number of inches still stands based on the fact that your client improperly removed the trees and is being fined for that without getting a permit.
Okay. So you're going to make a determination then on the inches, and whatever he's allowed to remove would come off those inches.
That's correct. Am I understanding that correct from staff?
No, the amount of trees that are going to be required on the site after the commercial review is done and the permit's approved, that's a completely different case right now. That'll be approved during the commercial review. Natural Resources planners will dictate how many trees need to be on there to run that commercial property.
Yeah, then there's no reason for me to extend an additional 120 days to acquire a permit and finalize if the fine associated with this particular violation of 3,212 inches is in play. Correct?
If he does have to replant more trees on the property to come in compliance with the code, we would give credit for that, which would take off this, but that's only, say they need 10 trees on the property, 15 trees. And if there's room to add more trees on that property that won't be affected by the commercial use, he can plan on that and get credit.
Again, for the purpose of my ruling, I don't see a reason to allow time to acquire a permit and finalize. The end result is two different things from what counselor is asking for and what staff is asking for.
I agree.
So
I agree.
there's no reason to extend that. The fine is the fine. You have the ability to plant or donate. You have a timeline for which to do that. If you come up with your permit and it's complete within that timeline and you can add additional trees to offset the fine, then you have the ability to do so.
Well, that won't be, number one, I assume everyone has done the math. He's being asked, if you accept the inches suggested by staff, which I don't believe the testimony supports, you're asking him to pay $208,000 in fines on a property that last year he purchased for $140,000. Okay? That's how this would play out. Number one. Number two, if he's going to get credit for planting some trees on the property as part of this process, I don't know how much time he's got to make this decision, but it's going to take, I think from what Ms. Hall indicated, she recognizes it's going to take 4 to 6 months to process this permit to be able to know how many trees he's going to have to plant beyond what he's got on the property.
Yes.
So he would need more time either way.
He's going to be required to plant back trees based on the tree survey or the submittal of the documentation to the county for his permit.
But only when he has the permit.
Correct.
Right? So if he has had to pay for the trees he removed beforehand, then there's no way for him to get credit for those trees that he plants. Unless he has time to do that.
Correct. And you were not comfortable with the 120 days
No.
to acquire the permit?
No, I am, but I
As
thought you
originally
said that
discussed?
you weren't going to do that.
I'm having a tough time with it. I'm not going to lie.
Okay.
So what you're asking for is 120 days to submit, acquire, and get a permit.
I think Ms. Hall suggested 120 days to get it submitted and 120 days to get it issued.
So I don't see any reason why it would take 4 months for you to submit, especially with the documentation you've already provided.
So
you're looking for 30 days to submit.
Okay.
And you're asking for 120 days after
processing the permit.
For processing the permit. And then at that time, I think the easier way here would be just to continue this for 3 months. No, because that doesn't put the timeline on you. I think my recommendation will be to require you to submit within 30 days and then come back to us.
Okay. May I check?
Sure, absolutely.
So Judge, what he's saying is, in his experience, even what he has with the changes that he's going to do to simplify the project, he thinks that the engineer is actually going to take a little bit longer time. So I would suggest 60 to submit. He's saying once the plans are submitted, the timing is out of their control. It's up to the county for the review process. So he's saying as long as he submits, it needs to run until the county has finished their review. So.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
So if you give him the 60 days, but then however much time it takes for the county to review and approve the permit, then I think it makes a difference.
So our review time on commercial is 20 working days, and largely it is in the control of the applicant. If the plans are turned in that meet all the regulations, 20 working days, you would have your permit. If there's corrections required, it depends on how long it takes for you to resubmit. And then there would be another review period. So largely it is up to your engineer to submit plans that meet the land development code.
Yeah, but Your Honor, it is routine in projects for the county to have comments that were not anticipated by the engineer. And
I understand.
for there to be some back.
My concern here is that we get it submitted, that we get it on the clock.
So if you give us 60 days to submit, I think we can meet that.
Meet you in the middle.
Okay?
45 days to submit for your permit.
Okay? And would you give us some consideration on the total inches?
Do you want me to do that now, or you want to wait for the process?
I would rather wait for the process.
Okay.
Okay?
45 days to submit. And then we'll have you back here for the June 3rd meeting. That's 60 days.
Okay?
So you can give us an update at that time.
Okay?
And let us know that that's been completed within the 45-day time period.
Okay, it's probably going to be one of my partners because I'm going to be out of the country.
I thought we had something going.
We do. And if you did it 1 month later, it'd be great because I'm out of the country on
No
June
problem.
3rd.
I'm just looking for an update. So
So could we do it in, what's your July meeting?
my July meeting is July 14th.
Can we do it then? Because I'll be here at that time. And I would rather have the continuity.
I will not be here on July 14th. I will be out of the country. And likewise, I'd like to be the one to take care of
Yeah.
this. So, all right. We know the review process is going to take some time.
Right.
So I will give 45 days for you to submit.
Yes, sir.
And then I will see you here at the August 5th, 2022 hearing.
What date is that? August what?
August 5th.
Yes, sir.
So we will continue it till then with the understanding that you will submit for the
Within
permit.
45
within
days of today.
45 days of today.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay?
All right.
Questions, comments from staff? 45 days to submit his permit. We'll be back here on August the 5th. We'll all get together and get an update.
On the August 5th, are we going to come with a conclusion?
Correct.
Okay.
We'll come back, we'll come up with a conclusion, we'll make a ruling on the inches, and we'll get an update on where they are in their permitting process.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. All right. Ruling case L 216865. The base of the evidence presented, I require the violator to submit for a permit application within 45 calendar days. And to return and continue in return for our August 5th, 2022 hearing for an update on the process. Thank you very much. Thank you. Have a great weekend. No. Next case.
I believe that was the last person.
Okay.
Here.
Anybody online?
No.
Okay.
Ready to go back. Ready?
Next case, please.
Okay, turn to page 3, number 6, case number L 216683. The owner is Robinson A. Moreno Salazar, 7865 Carriage Point Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Excuse me, do we need the no one in the audience speech?
Absolutely. Seeing that no one is present in the audience for the remaining cases on the agenda, I will now review the case materials previously provided by county staff, and if I find the property is in violation of Hillsborough County Codes and Ordinances as listed in staff's presentation, my ruling in each case will be based on the evidence presented, on the gravity of the violation, the actions taken by the violator, and the violator's history in determining the amount of fine that will be assessed.
Case L 216683, owner violator. Morano Salazar Robinson, violation address 7865 Carriage Point Drive, Gibsonton. Violation observed, improper pruning resulting in the effective removal of required lot and street tree for Carriage Point subdivision. Ordinance violated section 6.06, first inspection March 5th, 2021, first notice June 16, 2021, last inspection March 8th, 2022, inspections conducted 3. On
John Beavers, Environmental Investigation Supervisor, on January 4th.
Go ahead, John.
Picture was taken by the HO Homeowners Association showing the 2 trees that were severely topped, the lot tree and the street tree. And the next photograph was taken on March 8th, 2022. You can see the responsive epicormal sprouting from the wounds that were it's trying to regenerate in the areas inside the approximately inside the circles. Next.
Staff recommendation, install the required street tree within 30 calendar days for Carriage Point Phase 1 subdivision. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, and a Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list and shade tree list. County approved palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk at a 2-to-1 ratio for street tree replacement. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
John, have we had any communication with the owner?
No, sir, we have not.
Thank you.
Sir.
I rule in case L 216683 that I concur with staff's recommendations require the violator to install the required lot and required street tree within 30 calendar days for Carriage Point Phase 1 subdivision. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, and Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list and shade tree list. County approved palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk and at a 2-to-1 ratio for street tree replacement. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above will result in a daily fine of $200 per day. Next case, please.
Turn to page 4, number 8, case number L 216812. The owner is GKJ Home Solutions, 7206 Westinghouse Avenue. We have service and no one is present.
Case L 216812. Owner violator GKJ Home Solution Inc. Violation address vacant lot folio 042286-0100. Violation observed unpermitted tree removal for 3 oak trees measuring 26, 15, 16 inches DBH, diameter at 4.5 feet, and 2 10-inch DBH golden rain trees for a total of 77 inches of tree removals. Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection April 23rd, 2021, first notice September 17, 2021, last inspection March 9, 2022, inspections conducted 3. These 2 aerials were taken from property appraiser, January 25th, 2020. On the left shows the trees that were in there to go along with a lot of smaller trees and underbrush. On March 7, 2021, property appraiser aerial showed the trees for the most part were removed. There are some along the property edges. April 22nd, 2021, I arrived for the complaint, took pictures taken from 72nd Street across the property on the left, and on the right is a 26-inch DBH laurel oak stump still remained at that time. On March 9, 2022, did a reinspection. The Ground has stabilized, no new trees. I had contact with a engineer, called me at the beginning of this process, said they were going to submit plans, take care of everything, and it has been crickets since. Staff recommendation, plan to donate 77 inches DBH of approved shade restoration trees or contribute 77 inches to the restoration fund, or a combination of plantings and contribution to the fund within 60 calendar days. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, minimum 8 feet in height, Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
A ruling case L216812 that based on the evidence presented, I concur with staff's recommendations. Require the violator to plant or donate 77 inches of DBH of approved shade restoration trees or contribute 77 inches to the restoration fund or contribute combination of plantings and contribution to the fund within 60 calendar days. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, a minimum of 8 feet in height, Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above will result in a daily fine of $250 per day.
Excuse me, may I have the staff ID on that case, please? Not sure if that was Wayne or Tony.
She wants you to identify yourself for that case.
Sorry, Wayne Doyle, Hillsborough County Natural Resources.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next case, please.
Page 6, number 11, L216983. This case complied March 25th, 2022. Number 12, case number L216996. The owner is Ileana Encarnacion Zagara. Location 1508 Redmond Brook Lane. We have service and no one is present.
Wayne Dorian, Hillsborough County Natural Resources. Case L216996. Owner violator Ileana Encarnacion Zagara. Violation address 1508 Redmond Brook Lane, Ruskin. Violation observed, unpermitted removal of a required street tree for Windmere East subdivision. Ordinance violated section 4.01. First inspection July 19, 2021. First notice August 10, 2021. Last inspection March 16, 2022. Inspections conducted 3.
Good morning, Tony Hood, Hillsborough County. The picture on the left shows the stump that was removed, the required street tree. The picture on the right shows that the tree is no longer there. Next slide. A recheck was done March 16, 2022 and shows they have replanted a tree. However, it's not Florida grade number 1 and it is not alive. Next slide. This is the data sheet showing what is required for Windmere East. Shows that they are to receive 1 street tree. Next slide. And I have had no contact with the property owner for this case.
We did.
Yes, I received a message from her yesterday saying that she was going to be out of town and wanting to know if she could get an extension. I did not get that message until early this morning. She said she was on a business trip.
I did attempt to call her 3 times yesterday, left messages, no contact. It's a street tree violation. I say to proceed.
Do you have any concerns if we extend the calendar days a little bit?
That's not a problem.
Okay. Let's give her a little extra time just in case she's out of town. Okay. I'm sorry.
I got to read. You want me to read it or are you just going to read it?
Go ahead.
You can if you want.
No, you're doing great.
All right, staff recommendation, install a required street tree within 60 calendar days for Windmere East subdivision. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, in Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list. County group palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk at a ratio of 2 to 1. Fines must be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
I concur with staff's recommendation and rule in case L 216996. The violator install a required street tree within 45 calendar days for Windmere East subdivision. Tree must be 1 inch DBH or larger, 6 feet in height minimum, and Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved street tree list. County approved palm trees must be 8 foot of clear trunk and at a 2-to-1 ratio. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above will result in a fine of $150 per calendar day. Next case, please.
Page 7, number 13, case number L 217024. The owner is Richard S. Eves, 4508 Lithia Pinecrest Road. We have service and no one is present.
Wayne Doyle, Hillsborough County Natural Resources, case L 217024. Owner violator, Richard S. Eves, violation address 4508 Lithia Pinecrest Road, Valrico. Violation observed on permitted removal, 124-inch DBH diameter at 4.5 feet, live oak tree. Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection June 30th, 2021, first notice September 30th, 2021. Last inspection March 23rd, 2022. Inspections conducted 3.
Good morning, Tony Hood, Hillsborough County. This is a Google Street View taken March 2021 showing the tree that was removed. It's marked with a red X. Next slide. This property owner applied for a tree removal permit. However, the tree was removed prior to inspection and prior to the tree being permitted. And this shows where the tree was removed at. Next slide. Recheck was done March 23rd, shows no new plantings on site.
Staff recommendation, plan to donate 24 inches DBH of approved shade restoration trees or contribute 24 inches to the restoration fund or a combination of plantings and contribution to the fund within 60 calendar days. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, minimum 8 feet in height, Florida grade number 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. Property owner will be responsible for this violation. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Mr. Lorenzen, Citizen Board Support had a message regarding this case this morning.
I was going to ask Tony, I'm pretty sure we have another case
Okay.
on this and fines running. If somebody can verify that for me. Pretty sure we had an case back in June or July of last year in regards to that ditch. I think fines are running. Ditch has not been restored. Is that the case?
Gonna look.
Yeah, that would be a different type of violation, but let me check on that one.
Thank you. What was the message from?
We had a message from the fiance of the property owner that they had forgotten about today's hearing and were asking it to be rescheduled. And they were told that it was too late. And yes, there is another case with fines running on the same property for, well, my computer's going slow. Unpermitted disposal of fill materials within 100-year floodplain.
Yes. I thought I recognized that picture, Tony. Good job.
Thank you.
One moment, please.
He hasn't said it yet.
Fiance was asking for fiance was asking for a continuance. She couldn't be here today.
She was asking the case to be rescheduled, and she was told that it was too late to have that.
I'd like to have them here. Let's go ahead and
You want to do that?
reschedule this case for May the 3rd, next meeting. Is that
All
okay
right.
with staff?
Do you want to continue it or just reschedule it? It's up to you. I don't
6 of one, half dozen the other. Continue.
continue.
Continue to the May 3rd, Tuesday, May 3rd meeting. Give them an opportunity to come down and
All right.
visit on that one. And that gives us staff an opportunity to coordinate on the prior case.
All right.
Next case, please.
Page 8, number 15, case number L217145. The owner is Thomas W. DeVoe Jr., 8717 Driftwood Drive. We have service and no one is present.
Wayne Dorian, Hillsborough County Natural Resources. This is case L217145. Owner violator Thomas W. DeVoe Jr. Violation address 8717 Driftwood Drive. Violation observed. Unpermitted tree removals for one laurel oak tree measuring 37-inch DBH, diameter 4.5 feet. Ordinance violated section 4.01, first inspection September 21st, 2021. First notice October 7th, 2021. Last inspection March 24th, 2022. Inspections conducted 3. This is a Google Street View taken February 2019, showed the large laurel oak on the property. My first inspection to the complaint, September 22nd, 2021. The property has been partially demoed at this point. They did have a demo permit. They also did put in for a tree removal application, but it was not approved prior to the tree being removed. It was in a waiting client reply status. On March 24th, 2022, nothing else further has been done on the property. I spoke to them at the beginning of the, when there was a construction crew out there. They notified me we had a tree permit. I'm like, that's when I explained to them that, no, the tree permit had not been approved at this point. It was awaiting your client's reply. They said they would get the owner get in touch with me, and I haven't heard anything since, other than Krista has.
That's all?
I had talked to the contractor in regards to the demo permit, and she gave me the permit number. And I explained to her that when they submitted the permit, staff had not had a chance to review it. This is a large tree. We're required to review a large tree to determine if there's replacements. Anything over 24 inches may require replacements based on the condition and the health of the tree. They said, unless we get to see it, we can't make that evaluation. So without seeing it, we have to do 100% replacement. She said that the tree company misunderstood the receipt. They got an email receipt and thought that email receipt that said we received their application was also an approval. And I explained to her, no. And I asked, did you see the permit? She said, no, they did not see a permit. She understands, and she's notified the tree company to assist in resolving this matter.
Okay, do we need to revise and notice the tree company, or
no, it
still remains through the property owner?
They understand that the property owner is going to have to work it out.
Okay, I concur with staff's recommendations in order in case L217145 that the violator plant or donate 37 inches DBH of approved shade or restoration trees, or contribute 37 inches to the restoration fund, or a combination of plantings and contribution to the fund within 60 calendar days. Trees must be 1 inch DBH or larger, a minimum of 8 feet in height, Florida grade 1, chosen from the Hillsborough County approved tree list as appropriate. Contribution to the fund equates to $65 per DBH inch. The property owner will be responsible for this violation. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above will result in a fine of $200 per day. Next case, please.
Number 16, case number L217159. The owner is Mako Soils Incorporated, 11805 Davis Pool Road. We have service and no one is present.
Wayne Dwight, Hillsborough County Natural Resources. This is case L 217159. Owner, Mako Soils, Inc. Violation location, 11805 Davis Pool Road. Violation observed. Unpermitted fill dirt has been deposited on site. Ordinance violated, section 4.01.
We're not seeing the presentation.
Missing it. Maybe try unhooking and sharing again.
Hit stop sharing.
Yes, yes, we got it. Oh. Sure.
Yeah.
Did you try that?
Wayne Doran, Hillsborough County Natural Resources, case L 217159. Owner violated Mako Soils Inc. Violation address 11805 Davis Pool Road, Sefner. Violation of reserve unpermitted fill dirt has been disposited on site. Ordinance violated section 4.01. First inspection September 29, 2021. First notice September 29, 2021. Last inspection March 22nd, 2022. Inspections conducted 4.
Good morning, Tony Hood, Hillsborough County. We received a complaint that fill was being brought onto a property without permits. I responded September 29, 2021, and found dump trucks actively dumping fill on site. Next slide, please. Here's an aerial taken from the property appraiser's website, taken January 2021. I have outlined an area where shows where the fill was on the property. Next slide. Recheck was done March 22nd, 2022. Shows that the fill is still there.
Tony, the picture shows, the aerial at least showed what appears to be additional fill. Is that not?
So that's on a different property, but it is permitted.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Staff recommendation, submit a compliant natural resource application to address the land alteration within 60 calendar days. Obtain the natural resource application after receipt of the application within 90 calendar days. Finalize the conditions of the natural resource permit within 2 years. Or remove dispositive fill back to natural grade within 60 calendar days. Fines will be issued for failure to meet timeframes.
Can you explain the unusual timeline, please?
That's because basically at the last minute on Wednesday, we were not sure why they needed all that fill. They told us on Wednesday that they were submitting a permit for developing the property. And we want to be sure that they finalize the permit requirements, but we don't know what the permit requirements are. So once they get the permit, if there's any conditions that need to be finalized, the permit will require that within 2 years.
So this is just a promise to close the loop.
Hmm.
This is merely a promise to close the loop.
Yes, sir.
Understand. Okay. I concur with staff's recommendations and rule in case L 217159 that the violator submit a compliant natural resources application to address the land alterations within 60 calendar days, to obtain the natural resources application after receipt of the application within 90 calendar days, and to finalize the conditions of the natural resource permit within 2 years, or remove disposited fill back to natural grade within 60 calendar days. Failure to meet any of the timelines listed above result in a fine of $300 per day. Next case, please.
Page 9, number 17, case number L 217184. This case complied March 29th, 2022. And that concludes the agenda.
Thank you to everyone online. I appreciate your patience today with our April Fools and computer network issues. Hope you have an amazing weekend. Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned.